It's a new regime. They are much more accessible. They are right. You know, they said, we have a present for you, Mr. President, out of respect. And they said, wait a minute, you wanted me to answer the question. You're a fresh person. You know, we've had a lot of problems with you, haven't we? No, they don't. You asked me a question. No, they don't have to make a deal with me. When we feel that they are, for a long period of time, put into the Stone Ages and they won't be able to come up with a nuclear weapon, then we'll leave, whether we have a deal or not.
Did you just hear that? Because that was the whole story. Right there. The president just said Iran does not need a deal, and America could leave anyway. That is not a minor line. That is the line. And if you care about gas prices, retirement budgets, and American credibility, you should be alarmed, because the Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most important oil choke points. Reuters and AP both reported the crisis there has hammered energy markets. Reuters also reported U.S. gas prices already crossed $4 a gallon. So when Trump talks about leaving fast, he is not talking only about troops. He is talking about what happens next to your wallet. And by the end of this video, you will see a bigger pattern: retreat abroad, chaos at home, and a White House acting like rules are optional.
It was very necessary.
Mr. President, a couple of questions for you on Iran, but first one that affects Americans here at home: gas prices. Today they hit $4.
And we're $4, yeah, and we have a country that's not going to be throwing a nuclear weapon at us in 6 months.
But Americans are feeling the effects in the interim.
And they're also feeling a lot safer.
What is the plan to bring them back down?
All I have to do is leave Iran, and we'll be doing that very soon. And they'll become tumbling down, and stock price.
Here is what they are not telling you. This is not just about one rough answer. This is about the cost of chaos. Trump is talking like America can walk away, declare success, and let everyone else clean it up. But the Strait of Hormuz is not some side road. It is one of the most important energy choke points on Earth, Reuters reported. The conflict has disrupted a route that carries around 1/5 of the world's oil and LNG. AP reported the fighting has brought shipping there close to a halt. What this actually means for you is simple: higher fuel prices, higher shipping costs, higher food costs, and more pressure on seniors living on fixed incomes. Reuters reported, average U.S. gasoline prices moved above $4 a gallon for the first time in more than 3 years. That is not cable news drama, that is real pain at the pump. And there is another part. Trump acted like Iran has little left to threaten anyone with, but Reuters reported Iran's Revolutionary Guards threatened U.S. companies in the region, naming firms like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Intel, IBM, Tesla, and Boeing. You can be outraged by Iran and still tell the truth. A threat is still a threat. A choke point is still a choke point. A spike in gas prices is still a spike in gas prices. So no, this is not strength. It is improvisation. It is a gamble, and ordinary Americans are the ones paying first. That is why this matters, not just overseas, right here at home. This map tells the whole story. The Strait of Hormuz is tiny on a screen, but it carries an enormous share of the world's energy. Reuters says about 1/5 of global oil and LNG moves through this corridor. AP reports the fighting has badly disrupted shipping there. So when Trump talks about leaving, he is not ending the consequences. He is shifting them. If the route stays unstable, Americans still feel it at the pump, allies still feel it in their economies, and Iran still keeps leverage over a waterway that can rattle the whole world.
There was a viral video this week. I don't know if you saw it. Army helicopters hovering near Kid Rock's house in Nashville. Did you see that video?
I didn't see it, no, but I'm sure they had a good time.
So the Army just said the crews of these helicopters have been suspended. What do you think of that?
Well, it depends. Are they? Well, they probably shouldn't have been doing it. Yes, you're not supposed to be playing games, right? But I'd take a look at it. They like Kid Rock. I like Kid Rock. Maybe they were trying to defend him. I don't know.
I believe this is outrageous, not because it is weird, because it is dangerous. The U.S. military is not supposed to be a campaign prop. Reuters reported the Army reviewed why Apache helicopters flew near Kid Rock's house and near anti-Trump protests in Nashville. PBS reported the pilots were suspended while that review was underway. Then Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth lifted those suspensions and posted, "No punishment, no investigation, that should stop every American cold." Why? Because rules are supposed to apply evenly. If soldiers break protocol, there is a process. If celebrity friends are involved, there should still be a process. But this White House keeps sending the same message. Loyalty matters more than standards. Optics matter more than accountability. and look at the same day's broader pattern. Reuters also reported Trump promoted a giant Miami tower for his future presidential library and said it would most likely include a hotel. Think about that. A presidential library is supposed to preserve public records and history, yet the branding, the luxury, and the hotel talk tell you where the focus is. Every American should know what this looks like. Public power, private image, political favoritism. That is why people are so angry. It is not one helicopter flyby. It is one more example of government being treated like personal property. Now put this on the screen. Reuters reported Trump's Miami library concept includes a giant tower and that Trump said it would most likely include a hotel. AP reported Florida officials approved nearly 3 acres of prime downtown Miami property for the project, a parcel valued at more than $66 million. That does not prove illegality. But it absolutely raises the question of priorities, because a presidential library is supposed to preserve records and history. That is the whole public purpose. When the public hears hotel, tower, and Trump in giant letters, people do not see human.
So that's a big deal. Very proud of it. And I don't know how it can be challenged. You'll probably challenge it. You may find a rogue judge. You get a lot of rogue judges, very bad people, very bad judges. But that's the only way that can be changed. And hopefully we'll win an appeal if it is. But I don't see how anybody can challenge it. I don't see how they can challenge it. And remember, it's about voter integrity. We want to have honest voting in our country, because if you don't have honest voting,
Humility, they see self-promotion, and that matters because public trust is already hanging by a thread. Let's call this what it is. This was not just a bad press conference. It was a warning. First, Trump says America may leave Iran without a deal. Then he shrugs at $4 gas. Then he excuses special treatment around military optics. Then he talks about a library that sounds like a branded real estate monument. And then he claims he can reshape mail voting by executive order and dares the courts to stop him. Reuters reported voting rights groups and Democratic officials immediately threatened legal challenges. NPR reported election experts said the order was unconstitutional and noted that the Constitution gives states the main power over how elections are run, with Congress able to act. That is the bigger point. This is not only about one order. It is about a governing style that treats law like inconvenience. I am going to say this plainly. Every American should be alarmed when any president acts like war, elections, and military power are just props in a personal drama. Democracy cannot survive on vibes, branding, and threats against judges. It survives on truth, law, and accountability. So yes, this story is about Hormuz. It is about gas prices. It is about military ethics. But in the end, it is also about whether public office still means public duty. And right now, that duty is being tested.